Howdy folks, I'm about to cut some stair stringers. Figured I'd throw it up on YouTube. These are going to be pretty simple because I'm going to go essentially, the top step is the height of the floor, which takes out a little bit of your mathematics as far as getting the first step correct, with having to adjust for the width of the tread versus the width of the flooring. But I'm about to clean these stringers up and cut them, and I'll show you what I'm doing. First thing I got to do is I'm using repurposed material that we tore out of the deck, but so I got to remove some screws, get this stuff ready to cut so I don't jack my saw blade. Alright, I got that cleaned up, so now what I'm going to do is I've got these handy dandy stair nuts, stair gauges, and I use a construction calculator because it's simple, and I can punch basically one number in. What I did is the rise, so I've got a 35-inch rise that I'm going to be using, 35 and a half. So essentially what the calculator did for me is it divided that by the closest thing to 7 1/4. So 7 1/4 is your standard stair height. When you step up on a set of steps, you're generally stepping up about 7 1/4. That's super general. So this takes that 35 and a half, spits out a whole bunch of numbers: rise, run, tread height, tread depth, angle, and all that. What it gives me with my 35 and a half inch rise is a 7 1/8 stair tread height. All right, so I'm going to start clear up at the top of this stringer, and what I've got here is pretty simple. So here is what I got. Okay, this is my 7-inch or 7 1/8 rise. This is my 10-inch depth of tread. So that is what I'm going to mark out. I'll show you that here in a second. And then this top tread, or this top mark, is going to be a little bit different, because that's going to cut off, and that'll be my what butts up to my not steps, what butts up to the ledger on the house in this case. Okay, so what I've got here is, this is my top step. This cut will be my top step. This is going to get cut off, and that is what will attach to the ledger. All right, here in a second I'll show you the rest of the drawing. So also, when you're cutting, so you're going to set your corner right there at the corner of the tread. You're going to trace this outside. It's going to make another 10-inch spot right there, and that's where your next tread will start down. All right, so here is the layout. This is the going to get cut off here. That's going to cut. That's going to be what butts up to my ledger board. And you've got 7 1/8 down, 7 1/8, 7 1/8, 7 1/8. And now here's the last one that's going to land on, in this case, gravel, just a gravel patio. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 7 1/8 equals 35 and a half, basically, with 1/8 of an inch gone. So here's 7 1/8 here. Now, if I did a 7 1/8 inch rise here, and then added 1.5 inches of tread, like 2x6s. That's going to make this a 9-inch step. So you take, in general, normal, you would take a 1.5 inches off of this bottom, which is going to put you at the correct height here. Also, that drops you down up here. So I went from the height that I want this to end, I went 35.5 there. So when I drop it down 1.5 inches to make that bottom step work correctly, that puts me, when I add 1.5 inches here, puts me back at my 35.5 height. It can feel a little confusing. I mean, I sometimes will actually draw the entire thing out on a notebook page to double check myself if I'm struggling with heights and things and different thicknesses. But I'm going to go ahead and cut that and show you the stringer. I failed to mention also, so on this, I took my 1.5 inches to make my height correct, and then I'm going to land this on a 2x12. So I'm going to take a second 1.5 inches off so that these stringers land on a solid 2x12 all the way across. Then I'll have something to tack them into, since it's just landing on gravel, and something to kind of spread everything out over that gravel, and it's not going to want to try to shift and sink in. So I took an extra 1.5 inches, and that's going to get added back in essentially with a 2x12 when I install them. Let's get these cut. All right, if I thought of everything and did all my figuring right, there is a stair stringer, and then I just trace that and make some more just like it. So there it is, and like I said, this one down here is kind of off, but ultimately it'll be sitting on a 2x that'll bring it up to the correct height. That's a scrap, but yeah, you understand. So there we have it, and then I will cut. It's a wide stairs, so I'll probably cut 4 or 5 more of those, just like that. So that's how I cut stair stringers, and like I said, I use the Construction Master calculator, and it helps a lot keep some of the thinking out of it. And then these guys are super handy. Set of stair nuts, dog nuts, stair whatever. Come in a set of 2. I think they're like less than $10. Handy thing to have. Old framing square. Works wonders. Anyway, if you watch this, you have any questions or you cut stairs different than I do, post it in the comments. Let me know. I'm always willing to learn. Love learning new stuff. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff.